Welcome to our weekly market review brought to you by ETM Analytics and Treasury One. This week, I'm joined by Treasury One's Head of Market Risk, Wiechert Cilliers. Wiechert, as far as Mondays for 2025 goes, this has been a quieter one. It's a peaceful start to the week, but we obviously know there's going to be some interesting notes out of the US this week. The Senate, for example, is battling it out to get Trump's big tax bill passed. That's the one with I think it's $4.5 trillion worth of tax cuts, $1.2 trillion in spending cuts. So there's big fights for that going on. Hopefully they get it passed before the 4 July self-imposed deadline on that one. It's obviously going to have some implications. But also out of the US, at least linked to it, is the Federal Chair Jerome Powell, who will be speaking at the ECB's Centra Summit tomorrow. And of course, as per usual, investors will be looking for any hints or notes of when these rate cuts will start happening. Of course, we know Trump says he wants it down to 1%. Powell likely to disagree on that one.
Yeah, good morning. We started the last 3 weeks probably on geopolitical risk, and more geopolitical risk, and that's sort of at least taking the back seat for now, although it's still lingering there in the background, and some of the wars are still waging if you talk about Russia and Ukraine, but it's not very topical this morning. We've seen in the news, like you said, Donald Trump is not too happy with Jerome Powell, and he says, like you just mentioned, it should be between 1% and 2% on interest rates, but we'll need to see. Jerome Powell speaks tomorrow, like you mentioned, at the ECB Centra Summit, but he will probably still be on the wait and see. He'll say the heightened global uncertainty is there. He'll say the 9 July deadline of tariffs is coming up. Look to see what's happening on the consumer front. So he will still be very cautious. He'll still reiterate what has been iterating for a while, that inflation is still not at 2%. They haven't got clarity on it. There's still price pressures. So more of the same, although the market is pricing sort of 2 to 3 rate cuts for this year, as indicated by the chart. Jerome Powell is not quite on that chart, so on that path. So we'll need to see what happens from that front. But he'll continue on his merry way of will be data dependent. So I don't think expect fireworks, but it's still important to listen what he's going to say to get any hints from the interest rate front from Jerome Powell.
Obviously, a big part of that uncertainty stems from not only the inflation, not only the tariffs and trade deals and whatnot, but it's also the labor data coming out this week, because we've seen the labor market in the US cooling down. We've seen hiring cooling down, and it continues to do so. And that is definitely something Jerome Powell will also be taking into consideration, because these bunch of uncertainties, when you combine them, that can really tip an apple cart.
Yeah, so the important data during the week will be all the growth, all the job data that comes out, and how it's gonna play out. And we'll start off the jobs. It's been steadily, you can see on the chart there on the left, it's been steadily declining across the board for a long time. The economy is definitely cooling down. You can see GDP growth forecast for the year in the US has been revised lower to like 1.6%. So it's not up in the 2 and 3% that we used to. So there's definitely cooling happening. And we've still got, like I said, we haven't talked about tariffs in a while because we're talking about geopolitical risks. But tariffs and the deadline that's coming up on 9 July is still looming, and we'll need to see. There's been, you've seen on the weekend that Donald Trump has also said on Friday he's not negotiating with Canada anymore. He's just going to tell them what tariffs are they going to pay. So that still lingers in the back, and uncertainty creates consumers doesn't want to spend. So without spending in the US, we know the US is a consumer-driven economy. Without consumer spending, there will be struggle to have growth. So they're expecting the June non-farm payrolls to only print 120,000 jobs, which is on the lower end that we've seen in a while. And especially education and the hospitality industry has been on the back burner a little bit. So all that uncertainty forecast that employment is going to kick up to 4.3%. It's still very low on the lower end of the spectrum, still at full employment. But like we said previously, we sound probably like a broken record. The US economy is starting to show cracks. It's just how they're going to manage it. We know there's been US exceptionalism coming for Yonkers now. How they will handle it. How's it gonna impact the economy, and how it all feeds into what on the interstate fund and growth gonna be. So interesting data coming out, important data we need to watch. So we will continue to monitor it and to give feedback on it.
You mentioned the trade deals. We saw Trump say that they have struck another trade deal with China again. So we're waiting for the details on that. It's likely to involve some critical minerals. He's actually leading a delegation later this year with a bunch of business executives to China. So at least I think they've seemingly, to a certain extent, have kissed and made up and understand that they need each other to move forward. So that's definitely interesting. We don't have a trade deal with the US yet. And speaking of domestic matters, the DA had us all on tenterhooks. He said we didn't have geopolitical tensions, but we definitely had some domestic political things to look out for. And they had this massive conference and all this hoo-ha and keep it kicking up dust, and it ended up being a damn squib on Saturday, if you ask me. And by now, I think the markets also, they kind of took it in their stride, that little bit of a strife within the GNU, right? Including the Rand.
Yeah, definitely. But it's interesting what's happening and playing out on the GNU, because the ANC just continues to push the button, and they are always saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But I think they're not sure what they want to do at this stage. So they just say we're going to do this, but then they do actually do nothing, and then the ANC just laughs probably in the inside of the...
It's starting to feel a bit like a boy crying wolf situation playing out. Because, they continue to make these veiled threats. It was the legislative pieces with the NHI and the Bela Act, and then it was around the budget, and now this one. But, it depends on which way you look at it. At least this way, also the way they're reacting is that they are showing up the hypocrisy within the ANC and how they're making decisions. So they're also, they're making this noise to kind of highlight the lapses, I suppose, in the ANC structures, in the ANC part of the government. But not great, because if you're going to continue crying wolf, at some point we're all just going to go, not another one.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly where the Rand is at the moment. This state, all this political risk is lingering in the background, and they're just saying, until you leave the GNU, we're not going to react. All of it's just talk and part of politics, and we'll just follow the weaker dollar at this stage. We as the Rand will trade stronger. It's sort of in the lowest mid-70s, lower 80s. It's sort of where it's been lingering now, and the Rand seems fine there. It's happy there. It's sitting below the 18, and it's all on back of the biggest driver has been the weaker dollar. And again, if you look at where dollar Rand is here in the 1770s, but you look at Euro Rand, Pound Rand, Canadian Rand, all our cross currencies is under pressure. So it just shows you that the Rand actually isn't trading too well, but the rest of the emerging market space is in the same boat. So we're not a standout at any stage at this time, but for now, I think the Rand's happy in this sort of 1760 to like 1820 type of range, and it's going to linger there, except if something major happens, which we don't foresee happening this week. We've got a 5-day week, but the US only got a 4-day week. They're celebrating Independence Day on Friday, so markets will be jam-packed with data up until Thursday, and then Friday will sort of be a little bit of a lighter data day. So maybe with less liquidity, more volatility comes from it. But for now, we can't see the Rand sort of breaking out of the 1760 to 1820 type of range. So that's where we are at this stage.
I hope you didn't just jinx it by saying that we're going to have a quieter week. If 2025 has taught us anything, Wiechert, is that anything is on the table and we should be prepared.
That's markets. Markets, anything is always possible. We're telling you as we see it at the moment, and then the headline comes across and then it changes. So let's see what happens. But for now, that's what we see.
Wiechert, thank you very much, and I'm sure we'll chat again soon.
Thanks. Cheers.